Alright, now it's time to change the scenery to a slightly more dignified, slightly less subterranean locale. It's the living room. Well, in all specificity, there is another living room right over there, and that one even has a television in it, so that one's even more likely to be lived in more of the time. So this isn't the living room. It's not even a room, really, at least not unto itself. You see, this side has all the living room type commodities, and that side is definitely a dining room. So, to avoid confusion, let's call this the living nook. Although the confusion wouldn't have been a problem if I had just shut up and said this is the living room. Enjoy today's episode. Good afternoon, butt kickers. It's June 30, the 181st day of 2011, which means it's the final episode of It's the Program. Or at least it would be if my dastardly plan to double the speed of the Earth's revolution around the sun had worked. I mean, how many bottle rockets put into the ground and launched does it take to do something like that? Because if it's any more than 30, I'm not doing it. It's a waste of bottle rockets. So unfortunately, look forward to 6 more months of It's the Program. Anyway, 105 years ago today, the United States Congress passed the Meat Inspection Act and the Pure Food and Drug Act. Pure Food and Drug Act. You see, meat producers used to grind up long-dead rats, animal feces, cigarette butts, and the occasional dead loved ones, and decided to call the ensuing product beef. Everyone thought that beef came from cows. Well, it turns out that they were wrong. And so the people of the U.S. determined that this mystery beef was marginally inferior to eating the meat of an animal that eats food, pukes it up, eats that puke, pukes that puke, and then eats that puked puke. Actually, Griff, the process of rumination is much more complicated than that. Oh, I'm sorry, viewer, but you're on the wrong channel. You're looking for the Stuff That No One Who Matters Cares About channel. The Meat Inspection Act was partially spurred on by the book The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. Unsuspecting readers, thinking that they were in for an adventurous story about nature, were instead treated to 475 pages about just exactly why rubbing their faces in a pile of manure was by and large the same as eating a hamburger. Little known fact, Upton Sinclair had not intended for his book to be solely remembered as an expose on disgusting meatpacking policies, but rather just a novel about poverty in the United States. Although the guy described grinding up rusty nails, poisoned bread, and rat carcasses into sausages, and then selling them as special smoked sausages and charging 2 cents extra a pound for them. I find it hard to believe that he thought for a second that words like that wouldn't create some waves. My favorite part is when the vat operators fall into the vats at work, and what's left of their corpses is fished out like 2 weeks later, and 60% of them became meat for the consumers. So, have you guys vomited yet? If not, I think I've got one more thing that could convince your stomach that it's holding just too much stuff.
Imagine what my butt looks like. Here's a hint. I've eaten nothing but Mexican food and hot wings for the past 3 weeks.
There you go. Let it all out. Now that's the way to finish a month. Thank goodness for the FDA, and thank goodness for Upton Sinclair. Until next month, I'm Griff, and I'm still talking.